John, and
Hi, Alma.
thank you for me today on this 5-minute coffee catch-up.
It's very nice to be here. Sorry about the mess.
No, it looks nice. It's your workshop, right?
Yeah, it's getting there. I've just been making lots of changes actually and building new benches and stuff. So it's all a bit chaotic, but hoping to start the new year afresh and make some nice stuff. So yeah.
So can you start by introducing yourself and kind of your relationship with GC&DC?
So my name is John. I have been making jewellery since I left university in 2002. So I'm quite an old hat now. I'm not an old hat. What's that?
You feel maybe like an old hat.
What's the word? I've been at this game a little while, and I've been very fortunate to win my category a couple of times when entering the Craft and Design Council Awards and also the Goldsmiths Company Award on 2 occasions, which has been amazing. Wow. And I've also been a judge twice before, and this is my first time actually collaborating with you guys to come up with a brief, and it's a real honour. And yeah, I hope everyone's excited about the challenge.
Yeah, it's very new for us. So I'm going to just read briefly what this design brief is about.
Okay.
So conceptual jewellery. And it's designed for characters. So I'm just going to read what it says. So this year we invite you to design a piece of jewelry or body adornment for a fictional character of your choosing or of your own invention. We encourage entrants to defy the limits of what is creatively and physically possible and to design as you would for a game, movie, illustration, or virtual reality. Crafting the idea around the character's story and world to make it truly unique to them is paramount. Thinking about the how, why, and when the piece is worn will be key to developing your design. We've also kind of given some prompts, ideas, and that could be mythology, folklore, cyberpunk, sci-fi, gothic literature, comics, gaming, and obviously whatever else someone would classify.
Yeah, it's pretty open, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So John, kind of what's your insight on this brief? And
Well, I see it as a real opportunity to explore ideas that aren't constrained by the need to make them. So I think this it's accessible to a broader range of people who perhaps don't have the skills to make, or perhaps they've graduated from university recently, which is not a good time. They don't have a workshop yet. This is a real exciting opportunity to get involved with the GC&DC and the competition, and really let your imagination fly, and yeah, just be really creative with it and invent, be imaginative. So yeah, very excited to see what people submit.
Yeah, so because you mentioned about not having to worry about how it's been made. So this is one of the briefs that we encourage. It doesn't have to be made because it is for a character that doesn't exist. So people can be much more creative in terms of scale and material and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yes. And that, you know, the character could exist in a world where there are different rules, you know, in terms of, I think it was mentioned in the brief actually, you know, it could defy gravity. So, yeah. You know, maybe something can shapeshift from one thing to another, like anything is possible.
Yeah.
So it might be, if that's the case, maybe the designer shows, you know, a few different images of how this object might change shape if it needs to be adapted for different environments or situations that the character finds themselves in. There's just so much you could do. It's pretty open-ended. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
what are the judges kind of looking for then in this brief?
I would say, well, imagination first and foremost. I think whether you choose to design a piece of jewelry for an existing character or whether you create your own character, I think it's important to have quite a a really good knowledge of that character and be able to demonstrate that through the written part of the submission and in the design itself. Also bearing in mind that the judges might not know about this character if they exist already, if they've not read that book or seen that movie, whatever. So to know who you're designing for. I think detail would be really worth thinking about, so maybe it might be that you even consider where the materials for this piece were sourced from. So if you think about like the Lord of the Rings, if you've seen Lord of the Rings, you'll know that Frodo wears chainmail made of mithril, which is this fictitious metal that's been mined by the dwarves from Moria. I think it's the mines of Moria. So do you know what I mean? That kind of level of depth.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
thinking about not just what it looks like, but where is the material sourced and what, because that has special features as well, characters, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like really lightweight. I think, wasn't it made by the elves, but like mined by the something like that. I can't remember all the details. And I guess we're not saying that you have to go to those lengths, but we're just suggesting you might want to think about, what it's made of. And is that important?
Yeah.
What are the physical properties of the material in that world? I mean, we're talking very fantasy here, so you might not choose to go down that route. It might be something very it might be a character that exists in our world, so obviously you'd think differently about it. So that kind of detail and the meaning of it as well. What does it mean to the wearer? Does it symbolize some kind of strength or power that they have, or are you putting like a badge of shame on them? Maybe they've done something, maybe they've not been very nice and they need to be somehow punished, and maybe this thing is a punishment to them. But I mean, do you see what I mean? It's kind of, you could really interpret this in many different ways. It might not be something that the character wants to wear if it's punishment, it's particularly.
Definitely another route to go on this one.
Yeah.
I
think that's about it, really.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like entrance in this particular brief have every door open to be as creative as they want to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think we'd also be looking for the design to be communicated as well as possible visually. It's I mean, the concept is going to be really important, but the the level, the quality of the presentation is also really important. If it doesn't have both, then it could be let down. And the entrance, the submissions that are creatively impressive but also well presented are going to, they're going to stand out as the stronger contenders, really. So yeah, it's important to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue to my next question, which is top tips for entrance. Do you have any
tips? Yeah, well, I did have a little think about this. I would say avoid designing a piece of jewelry that's already been conceived of by the author. So, you know what I mean? You don't want to sort of steal an idea and just draw someone else's idea. I think go with something that hasn't existed yet.
Yeah.
So like let's go back to Lord of the Rings. I wouldn't design the ring from the Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's very plain and visually not very interesting until you put it in the fire and then all that writing appears. But also, you know, it's been done, so don't do that. So I guess you'd call that reinventing the wheel a little bit, wouldn't you? So don't reinvent the wheel. What else did I think of? I lost my other notes. I think, yeah, like we just said, present it really well. It doesn't necessarily have to be an illustration of a design in the way that it's done traditionally with sort of the gouache painting. It could be that you take an image of the actor in the film, if it's from a film that exists, or something to represent the character, and then maybe you collage over the top of it or draw over the top of it. You might do this physically with paper and pencils, or it might be done with Photoshop. Maybe you can create it in sort of 3D software, possibly, if you have access to that. But the result is a two-dimensional sort of frame of that, frieze of that. So there's, you know, really think about what's the best way for you to communicate your idea in the strongest way.
Yeah. And I think that goes with all the 2D designs, is that it doesn't have to be the traditional gouache. It could be whatever the entrance feels most comfortable at showing off their designs visually to a potential client. And in this case, it's the judges in the conceptual jewelry that is your clients, and the brief is about this character, designing for character. So
exactly. Yeah, and I think lastly, just to have fun with it, you know, be really inventive, use your imagination. Yeah, I just can't wait to see what everyone does. It's going to be great.
Exciting, definitely. Yeah. I think a lot of, I don't know, I'm picturing a lot of colorful things, but might be some very dark ones as well, if it's the more negative kind of pieces that you mentioned as well, in terms of
I mean, I realize we've in this conversation we've kind of focused quite a lot on the sort of the fantasy end of the spectrum, but it doesn't mean to say that you know, that's what we're expecting. It could be a character from a very sort of earthly place, somewhere we know, but it's really about, you know, how well the character's been understood, what their needs are, what this symbolizes for them. So yes, I'm just sort of emphasizing the fact that, you know, you can interpret this in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be, you know, like a piece of jewelry for Superman.
Yeah, it could be for any type of character, like you say, future, fictional, someone alive. Yeah. And so you mentioned you have entered the competition before and obviously been very successful in doing so. Is there anything that you wish you knew before you entered the first time? Like any?
What do I wish I knew? I guess. I mean, I've been very fortunate in the times that I have applied. I guess. I mean, you'd always like to be a fly on the wall when the judging's happening.
Yeah.
And sadly, that can never happen. I can now because I've been in the judging process. So that's really interesting. So there's definitely a little bit of guesswork going on for anyone applying. But I think the important thing to remember is not to try and emulate anything that's come before, because what the judges are looking for is things that stand out, not which blend in. There's a little video in which I sort of talk about this a little bit, because in my own life and my personal life and my creative life, I've often found myself feeling like the odd one out, and like I don't really sort of fit into you know, existing notions of what jewelry is. And you know, I thought that was a weakness for me for a long time, and sort of struggled to find my kind of tribe. But in reality, it's actually, you know, it's been a real sort of strength. It's a very positive thing. So don't be afraid of being yourself. Just, it's the only thing you can do, and go for it. Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Well,
a bit cliche, isn't it? But it is
I think that's a
true.
really good way of ending our little chat today.
Okay.
Right? That's all we can tell the entrants to do. Go for it and try to do your thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Simple.
Thank you so much, John, for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And yeah, look forward to seeing the entrance in the 2D conceptual jewellery.
Cool. All right. Good luck, everyone. Can't wait to see it.
Bye, John.
Bye.